You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. I am your host, Michael Palmer, and today's show is going to be a fun one. First off, I hope you're having a fantastic holiday season so far, and I can't believe that 2023 is nearly done, and 2024 is right around the corner. Now, we have a very special episode for you today. It's our year in review show, and it features an amazing group of guests, including Debbie Roberts, who is the co-founder of Pure Bookkeeping all the way down under in Australia. We have Katrina Aarsman, CEO of Pure Bookkeeping Australia, of course, from Australia. And from this side of the pond, if you're listening from North America, we have Florida Virtual Bookkeeper, founder, and American Pure Bookkeeping licensee, Jessica Fox. And Financially co-founder and Canadian Pure Bookkeeping licensee, Teresa Slack. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Michael. It's nice to be here.
You've been on many times, each of you individually and as well in the year in review, and I always look forward to these. You know, sometimes I kind of look forward to them, but I'm all like, I could use more of 2023, quite frankly. Mm. But we're here. We're talking about 2023, and I'd love to hear from each one of you, 2023, what was the big surprise for each of you? Let's start with Teresa.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So we, at Financially, we did have a few surprises this year, and there was some personal surprises as well. From a business perspective, for the first time ever, we won US-based awards, which was quite amazing. We were very surprised when we earned top 50 client account service firm, North America. That was amazing. And my daughter got married, which was a big surprise. We weren't expecting that, so that made 2023 very memorable. But from a business perspective, I would say the biggest surprise that I continue to see is how much the world of e-commerce continues to grow, even after the pandemic. We sort of anticipated that after the pandemic and the whole world opened up, that we would see quite a drop in e-commerce. That hasn't happened. I think a lot of that has to do with everybody experiencing working from home and maybe not wanting to go back to the office. So they've chosen to quit their job, start an e-commerce business from home so that they can continue to have the flexibility and control of their own life. And that was quite surprising. I wasn't quite expecting to see that trajectory continue in 2023.
Wow. Yeah, interesting. And certainly after the pandemic, there's been lots of shifts. That's one that has not shifted away, and people going and starting e-commerce businesses and tapping into this world where we have there's so much opportunity. The opportunity for one individual in any particular town from their home has the whole world at their fingertips if they can figure out how to go after that marketplace. Very interesting. Sure. How about yourself, Debbie? Down under, what was the big surprise?
Well, I think I can add a couple of, I'll combine the two, business and personal. I think I guess it's not so much of a surprise. It's more a confirmation of how resilient bookkeepers are. And you see them coming back against adversity and overcoming all these things. So sometimes it does take you by surprise, but then you just realize what an awesome industry we're in and how resilient and determined bookkeepers are. And that's why I love being involved in the industry. From a personal perspective, my children had, or one of my sons, his wife had our 5th grandchild. So we're very blessed. I love that stage of my life too.
Congratulations. Always
Thank you.
wonderful surprises to bring new family together into the world. And Jessica, surprises from 2023.
Lots of surprises this year. In my business, similar to Teresa, I had the honor to fall on that same list, which was quite the shock to have what I consider a tiny boutique firm make a top 50 list. I also had the honor of winning a top 10 Pro Advisor award. That also came as a surprise because I've been nominated many years, but the same time I make the top 100, I get one of those awards. Wow, blew my mind. But also, both personally and business, I relocated. And at the beginning of the year, I did not see that coming. It was very sudden. It took place in 31 days from making the decision to move to we arrived to a new state, complete change of environment, moving the business and not skipping a beat. Like my clients didn't notice a single disruption in their services. That was quite a surprise. But for the industry as a whole, what has shocked me in a positive way is seeing the large and growing number of bookkeepers that are finally coming around and embracing AI and automation rather than being threatened by it.
Very cool. Yes, that is an interesting shift in just the way people talk about technology. I've noticed it in conversations on this podcast. There has been a massive shift, and maybe it's just the remnants of people embracing technology, but certainly exciting. And congratulations on your relocation.
Thank you.
Katrina, surprises.
Yeah, that's actually one thing that I was going to mention as well about the huge advancements in technology and the use of AI and how it can actually assist all sorts of, articulate communication. So bookkeepers don't usually have written skills, so they're usually numbers people. So we shy away from writing stories and reports and things like that. But I posted on our Inner Circle group yesterday about how others are using AI. And as a result of the summit last week where Mark Mickersham was talking about, how to use AI in their financial reports. So just asking ChatGPT how to write file review reports. So those type of, using it creatively and getting some great results from it to help them provide further services to their clients. And of course you do your social posts and your emails and things like that, but really embracing the technology, which is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Mark Wickersham's talk during the 2023 Successful Bookkeeper Summit was very well reviewed, opened a lot of eyes. There were 20 plus speakers with 20 plus sessions. So if anyone listening wants to go and listen to those, you'll find it in the community, the Successful Bookkeeper community, which of course you can click on the link in the show notes. But that was a big one. We'll get back to the interview right after this word from our sponsor. Something always comes up when you're running a small business. Well, Gusto's payroll and HR services can make it a little easier. Gusto was designed for you, the small business owner. They take the pain out of running a business, automatically calculating paychecks, filing payroll taxes, setting up open enrollment. Gusto does it all. Want more? Time tracking, health insurance, 401k, onboarding, commuter benefits, offer letters, access to HR experts. You get the idea. With Gusto, you can focus on the joy of running your business. It's super easy to set up and get started. And if you're moving from another provider, Gusto can transfer all of your data for you. It's no surprise, 94% of customers are likely to recommend Gusto. And here's the best part. Because you're a listener, you get 3 months totally free. All you have to do is go to gusto.com/The Successful Bookkeeper. Again, that's gusto.com/The Successful Bookkeeper. I'm telling you, you're going to love Gusto. Get started today. Thank you for hearing from our sponsor. Now let's get back to the interview. Surprises, technology, lots of wonderful things happening in our lives with relocations and new people being added to our families. Let's talk a little bit about the setbacks. There's always with every silver lining, there's also not so silver lining. Things happen, life happens, change in business, change in life. I'd love to hear some thoughts about the setbacks of 2023 for each of you.
Maybe I could start that on the reverse of the technology. We have a lot of struggling with reliable internet, phone communications being disrupted, software's experienced tech issues. I mean, we had one of our major communications down, and the struggles are real with the internet and reliable technology. So we've got this growth, but we've also got this restriction with it. So that's a bit scary, really.
That's an interesting one with Teresa talking about e-commerce and everyone from their home being able to tap into the world without that connection, that tiny little wire that goes out our door or through the ether, wherever, however you connect to the internet. Without the internet, everything comes to a big halt, which we've noticed in Canada. We've had big outages, Australia, big outages, and that's just one piece, the pipe that keeps everything running, not to say what happens on the other end with the software and the companies. I will just jump in a little bit on one, which is surprise. This is maybe a surprise, which is the number of data breaches and fraud that's happening in 2023. I don't even think we're hearing the amount of it. When we talked about software failures, a lot of that has to do with hacking and hijacking and data breaches, those sorts of things, which is really surprising and a setback for small business, any business really, but small business, because they don't have the resources typically to go and handle and deal with those things at the best of times. So a good one, Katrina, and certainly a setback for many.
Yes, and I was actually going to mention that about cybersecurity concerns. I think is something that is high on the agenda for bookkeepers, particularly in our industry. You have to put so many levels of security. It's can be quite a setback and quite a challenge to get all of those in place. But it's such a big responsibility. In Australia, there's legal requirements. I'm not sure about North America, about having what happens if there is a cyber security breach through your computers. You've got to report it to the government, and it's a whole bunch of stuff that has to happen if there is a cybersecurity breach.
Mm-hmm. Which certainly, again, that's the kind of resource burden that gets dumped onto the small business owner.
Absolutely.
As us. So we're talking about setbacks. Other setbacks, who would like to share any setbacks from 2023?
Tying in to that, one of the biggest setbacks that I had was also technology related. I've had great systems, great automation for years, working automagically, just set it once and forget it. But as technology evolves, the needs evolve. There are some new cybersecurity requirements in the United States that went into effect this year that led to having to evaluate each vendor and make sure they met stricter criteria, and not everybody made the cut. It led to having to revisit some of these automation systems that had been running for years, and I forgot just how much time they were saving. And it's still a work in progress in getting those little components revised, tested, make sure they flow smoothly before I can feel comfortable to know that nothing is going to fall through the cracks. And I know that in the United States, this has been a big stressor for a lot of bookkeepers, the FTC safeguards rules. It puts all of these new requirements with very little explanation of what they mean. And while there are lots of vendors that are very happy to take our money and say, we'll take care of it for you, they don't do such a good job at individualizing and customizing the experience for each individual firm. And I hope that any bookkeeper listening right now in the United States, if you have not heard about this, please get educated, because the penalties are substantial and they will not accept "and I didn't know" as an excuse.
That's right. That's right. It's a big one. It's a big one and impacts many, many people. And that's the ignorance of the law is no defense. So certainly that was a big setback for many, having to deal with that rolling out in 2023.
Yeah, I would have said similar to what all of you have said so far. It's around the infrastructure of all the tools that we need to be able to use. And as the world continues to, embrace technology, we need the underpinnings to work with that. Do we have stable internet? Does everybody have access to what they need to be able to do it? And certainly, Jessica, here in Canada, we heard all about what was going on in the US and the challenges that bookkeepers and really business owners in general are having, trying to understand and implement and get the support they need, and being able to, for a small business, being able to afford to hire those consultants to be able to help you do it. So I know that has been a big challenge. For us, from a business perspective, I can't say that we had any setbacks. The only thing that I would say for 2023 is our goals seem to have took longer in 2023 for us to accomplish them. We had a lot of projects on our plate that we had anticipated being able to completely finish, a lot of it around automation and streamlining, and we didn't get as much done in that front as we had hoped. So I wouldn't call it a setback, but we've now had to push it into 2024, where we've only got about halfway through the projects that we had wanted to do. So
definitely a balance. And is there any particular reason why you think you had those things taking longer?
I think, the big area that we didn't get as far as we wanted to was around automation. And if you're not a techie, this is a real challenge. If you're not really good at being able to do that, how do you get the support you need? How do you get the right consultants that can help you to automate things? Like, we use Zapier, but we had a heck of a time this year getting a lot of our Zaps to work. We have an awesome one that runs from Practice Ignition into Pure Workflow that automatically puts new clients in. And it kept failing. And it took a lot of research and a lot of back and forth and a lot of, tweaking to get that to work. So I found that to be a real challenge. We thought we would have tons of our automations up and running and perfectly. And it was, I think that's why, is that we, I am techie, but I am no Jessica Fox. So we all have our different skills and things that we need help with. Right.
And I think that the common thread with this part of this conversation, Katrina was saying about the chat GPT or the AI and the cybersecurity and all of that. Bookkeepers need the skill levels. You don't just turn up to your office and open your computer and start doing this whole thing of data entry and things like that. Those days are gone, really. There's so much more involved in running a bookkeeping practice, and the costs associated with that, Teresa, that you just mentioned, and that links to profitability and then how much you're charging, and if you're still doing hourly, we're moving. I'm just starting another conversation, if you like, but it's not just about the bookkeeping. When you decide to start a bookkeeping practice, there's a whole lot more to consider these days.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was just actually a previous podcast. The amount of things that are on the shoulders of a business owner at any given time is so great compared to if you've come from, maybe you worked in another firm and you've started your own business. That transition, that load up of all the different things to take care of is huge. And then you get thrown with something like the new regulations around security. That's a big weight. And there's many, many pieces like the Zapier and technology. And as we become more and more advanced, all of these things take time to learn, to understand, and to be able to figure out, well, what didn't work, why, what will have it work, why is it not working, and the maintenance of all of it. It's an industry and a role in itself.
Absolutely.
Okay, so setbacks, we've talked about a few, definitely some big ones around regulation, around technology and infrastructure. Let's skip over to now some heartwarming stories of client success. These are my favorite. I look forward to podcasts where I can hear the heartwarming stories of client success. And I'd love to hear, like, what clients did you notice you made a difference for, or you saw take a leap, and share those with us now. I'd
love to. I have a beautiful story if I can jump in on that one. So we have a client that came to us, I'd say about 2 years ago. This older gentleman, he runs his business all on Shopify, and he's very much about giving back. The whole basis of his business is supporting women in Ghana. So all the products are made in Ghana by women and giving them opportunities to build a life for themselves. So this is what he's all about. He got ramped up and then went through a terrible divorce, then got malaria, now has a brain tumor. But this guy continues. He is always positive. He is always upbeat. And no matter what is going on, no matter all the challenges that this man has, he continues to steadfastly build and grow a business. And because he cares so much about supporting women in Ghana. And when he came to us, his books were a complete disaster. And it took us about 8 to 9 months to get him on track. And when we were able to do that, we all know this, everyone here, he was able to look at those financial reports, make decisions. So when he came to us and we gave him his updated reports, he was not profitable. Within 6 months of taking that information, and keep in mind, brain tumor, malaria, big divorce, all at the same time, he was able to make adjustments. So now his business is profitable. We've helped him streamline what he's doing. And I love this man, because no matter what challenges face him, he is resilient and he continues to believe in his core purpose, which is supporting women in Ghana. And for me, I love him. I think he's a wonderful man, and he works so hard, and he never lets all the things that are going on in his life pull him down.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's a great heartwarming story. And thank you for sharing it, and good for him for the work that he's doing. And some challenges there for sure. Katrina, from the perspective of, you work with many, many bookkeeping businesses, and you see, I'd love to hear maybe some of the transformations that you've seen people make in their practices.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I wanted to talk about was mainly around the common theme being appreciation. So clients appreciating the bookkeepers. I was speaking with a group of bookkeepers yesterday at the VIP event after the summit, and one of the bookkeepers reported that she'd actually made a mistake. She'd said that, I don't know how long the mistake had gone on for, but she picked it up, notified the client, and the client was fine. It's very forgiving. That's okay. Let's just fix it and move on. And went on to explain that the bookkeeper had done so much for him and for his business, that why would he be angry for one mistake that she had made in the business, when he appreciates, her for so much more than one little event that's happened. So it's not going to reduce his appreciation or his thoughts about her. And it was just really heartwarming to hear that. And we hear that quite a lot, that clients are very appreciative of our bookkeepers. Just being able to help as much as they can, and when things, trigger an emotion or a reverse, it's like, hey, it's okay. It's like, let's just move on. Let's just fix that. I appreciate everything else that you bring to the table. So that was really lovely.
That's nice. And I think it's one of those things that as the industry shifts and business owners really connect with the value that bookkeepers are bringing. I mean, the story that you shared, Teresa, about your client, I mean, when you're taking people from that mess to something where they have clarity and peace of mind and definitely a bonus to be profitable. Not always does the clarity bring the good news, but better having the real facts around what's going on in the finances. I mean, I see a shift and feel a shift in the appreciation that's coming from the industry, because I think bookkeepers over the last couple of years have embraced the advisory and have embraced maybe letting people know the value that they're actually bringing to these business owners. I think it's starting to have a bit of a ripple effect, quite frankly. I've heard it a few times in the last couple of episodes, so that's a great one. And maybe part of the surprising of 2023 is seeing that shift where bookkeepers are recognized for the great work that they've been doing for decades. Debbie, what about you? Heartwarming stories that you've seen, transformation of clients or other businesses?
Well, leading on from Teresa and Katrina, I think fundamentally bookkeepers want to help. That's just in our DNA. I think that's why we go into the industry. We're good at numbers and we want to help people. We see people in a mess and we know we can make a difference. But sometimes that can be taken for granted and it can be abused, really, that heartwarming feeling that a bookkeeper has for a client's business. And I often say to our bookkeepers in our community, don't care more about your client's business than they do. And because we take on their burden, we go, no, you're going to be late if we don't please give me the information. You'll get fines and all of that. And they lose sleep over it and all that. And I say, don't care more about your client's business than they do. And that is actually a quote from Peter Cook, I might say, because he told me that many, many years ago when he was coaching me. So I think when it's moving into choosing clients that you can do your best work with, choose clients that love what they do, are passionate about what they do, are caring with their staff, are giving to their community. I think that's what they're the clients, the bookkeepers that I speak to, they're the clients who fill us up. They're the ones that reward us. And I think so I hear both sides of the story. I hear the heartwarming stories like Teresa's, where people are giving and they see the benefits. The client appreciates them. I hear their stories over and over, but I hear the other side of that, where bookkeepers' kindness is taken for granted. So I always say, choose your clients wisely. You can't do your best work with everyone, and not everyone appreciates what you do. So choose your clients who really are making a difference in their community, in their world.
So true. So true. And that's, you stack up some great clients in your business versus a hodgepodge of people who care or don't care. It's going to make a massive difference for the peace of mind and enjoyment of the bookkeeping business owner. Jessica, heartwarming story of 2023.
Yes, several come to mind, but I think the one that some listeners will likely resonate with is I do a lot of training and coaching of other bookkeepers. And I many times get people that get to me when they are near the breaking point, where they are so close to just throwing in the towel. And there was this person that she felt like she was never going to be able to snap out of that technician mindset, that it just wasn't in her DNA. And all we needed to do was some mindset work, some accountability work, let's look at different perspectives. You do not need to copy what others are doing. You are unique in what you offer, and you have a lot to offer. And I am very happy to report that they are no longer thinking about quitting because their firm has practically tripled in just a few months.
Amazing.
That's wonderful.
Beautiful.
Always love the heartwarming stories, and now we have to ask the heartbreaks. What were the heartbreaks of 2023, whether it was seeing other clients not able to get it, or things along those lines for 2023?
Similar to what Debbie was saying earlier about can't care more than they do. That essentially became my mantra multiple times this year when dealing with some clients, some prospective clients, some of whom were people that I knew and that I realized I cannot serve them in a professional capacity because I can't care more than they do. I used to bring all of this stress and burdens with me, and it weighs you down. The more clients you have, the bigger the load, then it's harder to disconnect at the end of the day, and it seeps into your personal life, and you have to draw the line somewhere for sanity's sake. So I did have to say no more than once. And it's sad, but one of the requirements for my ideal client avatar is they have to be coachable. They cannot be the type that will just nod as I talk and then do whatever they feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so true.
Yeah, I love that. That's probably one very strong element, that you do have to find somebody that is going to listen. Because that was all about, the theme of my heartbreak as well, is that so many businesses are being liquidated and going out of business, and a lot of bookkeepers are losing quite a bit of money in the work that they've done, but they still turn up and do the business's payrolls while they're, trying to work out whether they're going out of business or what. They have that loyalty to the business, even though they know that they're not getting paid right now, and whether they ever will get paid. But a bookkeeper puts a lot of their own time and energy and even emotion into those clients. And especially the ones where there is a lot of emotion. Like, I really feel the heartbreak is, Jessica's got her criteria. We just go with the coachable, the ideal client is those that are coachable, that you can talk to. Because you put so much into it, so much emotion and your own feeling into a client and their business, that it's real. You do get hurt. You can get affected by businesses not doing well, and especially for those that are being liquidated, it's just pretty sad.
I'm going to jump in on one. For me, and this is in the latter part of 2023, is the amount of very public bankruptcies. So we have a big furniture company in Ontario called Bad Boy Furniture, which they've just built just down the road from us, built a massive warehouse. They've declared bankruptcy or restructuring. Mastermind Toys, which is a really big organization that sells all sorts of great toys. It's like the old school, went from like an old school toy shop to stores across Canada, and they've just filed for bankruptcy protection. And then one that's very personal to me is a little tiny bakery where I grew up in Western Canada. It's one of these ones where it is the best bakery in the South Okanagan that I've experienced, and I'm a big fan of baked goods. And they're going out of business. And I just think to myself, we need more great bookkeepers to help these organizations know when to pivot, when to change, and to, like Teresa's story about the going from a total mess to actually having clarity. And I know it. I saw it. I grew up in a small town and saw the success and the failure and personal. I've told my own personal story of my father and his own view of the finances and turning to the accountant, which wasn't much help. And so, yeah, it was heartbreaking. I was not surprised, but really noticeably affected when I heard about the news of those businesses and knowing that, good financial controls makes a massive difference. And if you have a great bookkeeper in those businesses, maybe it doesn't make a difference, but I think it does more often than not. And so I thought of the people, their jobs, the staff, the customers that no longer can get those unique offerings. And so, yeah, I hope that shifts and we see a change. Of course, it's business; things evolve, and that's people go in and out of business and those sorts of things. But those were ones that I noticed recently, and I'm proud of the work that we do in the industry to help great bookkeepers and go from whatever state you're at in your business to being able to be where you can help people just as effectively as Jessica, Teresa, Debbie, or Katrina, and make great money doing it and have profitable business. So I want to see more of that in 2024.
Mm-hmm. On that note, Michael, in Canada, there is a statistic that 50% of new businesses will fail in the first 5 years. And of that 50%, 80% will fail due to lack of good financial management. 80% of them.
Yeah.
And we as bookkeepers, we can change that because we know it's not that it's a bad business, it's not a bad product, it's that they don't understand how to manage their finances. And, for a number of years, I've been on a mission to fix that number, and that's what good bookkeepers can do. When 80% of those that fail, it's because of lack of financial management and planning. Very sad.
Very sad. It's massive. And the cost that's incurred, it's mind-boggling as well, the costs. I mean, we talk about this often, and I don't think this is a dramatic story, but like when you think of the cost of what it costs to have a bookkeeper and people, how much do you charge, and all of those conversations. And it's like, how much does it cost to go out of business? It's crazy. I mean, there was a store just up from us, brand new bagel shop. And, it's always great to have a new bagel shop. It did not last but 3 months. To put a shop like that together probably costs upwards of $1 million of somebody's money to get it all worked out. They open the doors, and then all of a sudden, in 3 months, they're gone. So that's money that just kind of evaporates out of the benefit to the community, doesn't get to be harnessed, and likely was part of that 80% that did not have good financial planning. Yeah. Right. So, and I mean, there's dozens and dozens, hundreds of stories like that. But the value of having someone to help you with your finances is absolutely paramount. And here in Canada, the second annual Canadian Bookkeeper Week is happening, sponsored by the CPB Canada. It's happening in January, really right around the corner from when this episode will be airing. And, we had we're doing some podcast interviews about it. And it's really exciting because it's a celebration of the work that bookkeepers do for themselves, proud of the work they do and where they are in their industry. But also it's a celebration that hopefully business owners get to celebrate with as well and say, yeah, I've got a great bookkeeper. Or, hey, wait a second, I want one of those myself. So we're seeing that happen in Canada the second year in a row. And likely we'll see more of that throughout the world. And I think it does a great job to bring the awareness to business owners so they don't go down that track. So let's talk about if there's any other heartbreaks. Love to move on from them, but get into some more.
I've got something I'd like to add. It's heartbreak might be a little bit strong a word, but as you were speaking, I was thinking about the thing that makes me sad is when bookkeepers start off, like we need more bookkeepers, right? We need great bookkeepers. globally to help these business owners. And when you look, I've been coaching bookkeepers for 13 years, and when you see a bookkeeper start off and they're excited and enthusiastic and they're getting their first clients and they grow their business and then they get full up and then it starts to get a little bit challenging and they don't have the right systems in place and they want to, will they expand or won't? And they keep filling up by osmosis without a real plan until they get to a tipping point. And I just see this over and over again. It's not something for 2023, and I'm sure it will continue to happen next year in the coming years. And it makes me feel a bit sad because they start off so enthusiastically. And this was my story as well. Like, I was ready to quit. Jessica said she talked someone off the edge, and I do that all the time. But you just see this trend where when someone's full up and they keep taking on clients, but they basically burn out and they say, no, I'm going to change industries, or they downsize and they stop taking on clients. And that's because they're growing their business without the support, without the right systems in place, but even the guidance, just to know, no, don't do that. That doesn't work. Come over here and do this. Follow this process. Do it this way. And I feel sad about it because they don't have to do it on their own. Mm-hmm. And there are resources there that are available. And I think I'd like to help more bookkeepers actually grow a business that they love. That's my mission. That's the mission of Pure Bookkeeping, really, to help great bookkeepers grow businesses that they love. And I want to keep doing more of that. That's what gets me excited. And to help those people, there is another way. And if you get it set up correctly with the right systems and processes and the right guidance and things like that, you can have a business whatever size that you want and love it and have the freedom to do whatever it is that you want to do and help so many other business owners. And you employ staff, you're helping staff. It's just a win-win. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the heartache part.
Yeah, that really hits home, Debbie, because we went through exactly that. When Connie and I started Financially 9 years ago, we grew really quickly and we made every mistake you could possibly imagine. And after about three to 4 years in, Connie and I were thinking, okay, do we just shut this thing down and go get jobs? Like, this is just insane. But by happenstance, I got to meet the amazing Michael Palmer at an event. And I attended your 7 secrets to building a bookkeeping business. And at that same event, I met Mark Wickersham. And what we did was we joined Pure Bookkeeping. We joined Mark Wickersham for pricing. And those 2 things turned us from failing and in tears and sleepless nights to building and growing the business we have today. So it's so true. The supports are there for you. If you're willing to invest in yourself, you can build and grow a beautiful business. But I remember that. Michael, I remember being in tears in a coaching session with you back then, like just falling apart but learning. And if you're open to learning and changing, yeah, you really can. And yeah, I'm with you.
And doing
the mission is, let's get as many bookkeepers to have the business of their dreams, because every one of them deserve it. That would be my heartbreak that I would have said, is every time I see posts in Facebook from bookkeepers who are struggling, who, don't have their pricing right, who have clients that are not appreciating them, who are fighting them on their price, who are, struggling to manage it. It breaks my heart because I've been there and I know there's a better way.
So true. So true. And the other key formula is willing to do the work and keep going, right? And to use your example, Teresa, there were tough things and you had to do work. And sometimes you don't get the results when you're doing work. You don't get the results till later down the track. And so you have to have that perseverance to see it through and to have faith in yourself and that things will work out. And it's, it's a combination of your mindset, your work ethic, and just willing to keep on coming back and doing it again and investing, right? You invested in yourselves and in the business. And that's to go with what Debbie was saying, that's the heartbreak as well, is seeing people that are so close maybe or don't do those steps and then they fail, they stop, which is, that's the failure is sometimes. I mean, there's opportunity. If you're not meant to be doing it, then it's not failure, it's success. You've pivoted to something new. But if that's truly what you want, you've got to keep going. You've got to keep at it. And so you did that work, Teresa, with your sister, Connie, and you've both built a beautiful business and one that's fantastic, impacting and making you a lot of money, which is a nice reward, right? To do something you love and to be paid well for it. Hey, those two will go well together. And thank you for sharing those. And we'll skip into we've kind of talked a little bit about the industry trends. If there's any others that we haven't pointed out, but we talked a lot about technology and AI. If you know of any other industry trends or you've seen them, I'd love to hear from them. But I'd like to jump into what you see for 2024.
Sure, I can jump in on that. The big thing, and we talked about it in the beginning, AI and Chat GPT. That to me is what we're going to see more of. Is more uptake of that, more use of it. The bookkeeping industry, we're all very forward thinking. We tend to jump in and learn new stuff. So maybe I'm biased, but I think we're probably ahead of the curve a little bit because we embrace technology, and there's a ton of us who are embracing it and using it to save time, to make things better. And that is what I think we're going to see more of. And I don't know about you, but almost every app that we're using now has AI built into it. And all of it is designed to speed up our work. And the great thing about that is we now can spend more time on advisory, less time on the less value work. And that's what I think we're going to continue to see happening exponentially over the next few years, is more embracing of that and more of a shift towards more advisory work for the bookkeeping industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I agree. The AI is going to be such a major player in 2024. And one of the speakers at the summit talked about learning to tame the beast. Like, there is so much inside of the AI and the ChatGPT to make sure that you don't get lost in the noise and taken in different directions that aren't going to be useful for your business. So really thinking about and planning out what it is that you need in your business and how AI and ChatGPT can help with that, and not just follow along and just get lost in it all. It's just, be really, really mindful of what you are using and why you're using it and how it's going to benefit you in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree. And to expand on that, I feel that it's going to grow not just for bookkeepers, but our clients.
Oh, yeah.
I am seeing more and more of my clients having this ChatGPT Plus subscription coming in through their bank every month. And that is a great opportunity for us to differentiate, because those business owners that are DIY minded may try to have AI help them with the books. And it's, garbage in, garbage out. Some will have decent results, but not all of them will. And that is a great opportunity for us to step in, not just in the advisory, but to really provide that human element that the robots can't give.
Yeah. So important.
That's right.
Yes, and I think with that, there's an opportunity, and also the challenge with that I hear all the time from bookkeepers is, I've got no time. When am I supposed to learn this new stuff and spend? And I think that when Katrina said you need to be mindful, it's like you've actually got to block out time. This is, you're not just a bookkeeper in inverted commas. The role we've already mentioned, how the role is a whole business in itself with so many different skills that are necessary. And you can't put your head in the sand with it. If it's like, this is where the industry is heading. It's already here, and it's just going to keep moving forward from that. And I personally, I'm a slow adopter of new technology. I can honestly say that. Katrina knows, Michael knows that. I go, oh no, do I have to learn this new thing? But it's amazing, because when, like ChatGPT, I thought, oh, I don't want to learn that. And now it's like amazing. It's opened up a whole new world. So if you find yourself resisting that, but how, do I have to? I've really got all this bookkeeping work I need to do and data entry and compliance. Your role is much bigger than that, and there is a much greater opportunity, and it's exciting. Mm. It's exciting moving in this other realm and becoming a business owner and learning all these different skills. It really can be exciting. But so if you find yourself resisting this trend that is happening, then be conscious of that and block out time.
Yeah.
Your tech time, whatever you want to call it, each week that you're going to learn something new. So it's not just bookkeeping that you're doing. There's a whole lot of other skill sets that are necessary, even moving into advisory. People often, the biggest question is, how do I do that? Yeah. And pricing, Teresa, all of those things, yeah. They're not something that you learned when you learned how to do bookkeeping. These are all new skills, and they are important. This is where the industry is heading, and you need to embrace it. Otherwise, you will be left behind.
I agree, Debbie, completely. That's my worry. For those that don't want to change, they will get left behind. Not immediately. This isn't going to happen next week or even next year. But in the next 5 years, those that can't adapt to what business owners want now and in the future will lose that opportunity to grow a bit business, because business owners are going to be looking for more from us. And we need to move with the times. We have to stay up with what's happening, even when sometimes we don't want to.
Yeah, that's I probably won't nail the quote here, but it's not the strongest or the smartest. It's the ones that are able to adapt that survive. And so absolutely. That has perhaps been the theme for a couple of years, but adapt. To the shifts and stay current on what's happening. And again, another great resource is your community. Mm-hmm. Where are the successful people in your community spending their time and focus and energies? It's likely going to pay off for them, and it'll probably pay off for you as well, and save you a lot of time poking in the wrong corners, perhaps. And on that note, I'd love to ask, for your own businesses, what your focus will be. Where will you put energies into 2024 for your businesses?
I can jump in if you like. Number one, big surprise, automation and AI. As I mentioned, we didn't quite get all the automations done this year that we wanted, but we are embracing more AI. I have to say, last month I used ChatGPT to help me figure out why my Zap wasn't working. And it fixed it. Because it knows Zapier. And it was like, imagine how much time I would have spent on that. How many hours of tweaking and playing. And it told me exactly, here's what you need. And so, yeah, it is worth it. Definitely around that. And we're really working next year too on more seamless client communications and really upping our game on how we are communicating with our clients and how we are giving them what they need as a business owner. So that's a really big focus for us. A whole bunch of other stuff, but that's enough.
Those are some big ones.
Yeah.
Yes, similar to Teresa, I am always looking for ways to improve and further automate, once again, without removing completely that human element. But I am definitely decided that I am going to be even pickier than ever in the new year. I have already successfully done that in 2023. I created a waiting list out of necessity because I decided that I did not want to grow an empire, and I did not, hiring and managing people did not bring me joy. So because I only work 30 hours per week, I can only take so many. And what that did was create this perception of scarcity and exclusivity that I just have this growing list of people that are just waiting for me to give them the time of day. I did automate the pre-screening of those leads, and it's worked so beautifully that I love every new client that I've onboarded in the past year. They are just all perfect. So now 2024 will mean to let go of all of those that I've been carrying for years because, I care more than they do. And, they gave me a chance when I was figuring things out and I didn't really have my act together quite yet, but it's time. They don't fit my model well. And I know that out there is a bookkeeper that will be able to fit their needs.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Some good ones there. And Katrina, how about yourself?
Yeah, well, for Pure Bookkeeping, Phil will be moving into increasing our services to help bookkeepers systemize their business. So giving them that mentoring support and assistance so that they can move away from, what they might be trapped in unsustainable practices to businesses, to become business owners that they're going to love their own business. So we want them to run successful, profitable businesses. So the sooner they get the systems in place to be able to move off the compliance and do what they need to do, that's where we want to really double down in that mentoring and help those businesses to be able to move off to where they want to go to and provide them that support to do it.
Beautiful.
Well, I'm glad we're on the same page, Katrina, seeing as we're in the same business. That's exactly what I want to focus on next year. We've already introduced a new implementation program so that people can implement the system quickly. We've got in Australia and North America the Systems Accelerator program, which enhances that whole implementation program, a process, and then just get that done, and then add other courses. And on top of that, that's the mentoring. I was delivering a course yesterday, and I just have got so much that I want to give in terms of the mentoring advice and support. One of the licensees said, I'd love to be able to spend more time working in this area. And she said, why don't you do another course? And I said, I've got to get these other things off my plate first. But that's, for 2024, it's all about adding that customer service. What else can we do to get bookkeepers through the program quickly and successfully and getting on to growing businesses that they love?
Beautiful.
Amazing.
Some great plans in 2024. A couple of things about the Successful Bookkeeper community. We crossed 1 million downloads in 2023. So we will continue to put out one episode a week every week. And that was a big milestone that we had to stop and go, that's pretty cool. We small little niche podcasts like this. So there's lots of great bookkeepers out there listening to the content, which is always lovely to see. The other is the summits. We just held our third annual Successful Bookkeeper Summit in December, and the sessions in that, or both in Australia and in North America, were fantastic. Teresa, Jessica, you're often a speaker because of your move. This year we didn't have your session this year, but next year you'll be back, I'm sure. But the feedback from our community was just the meat of the content and the value to them as participants to get this raw, bookkeepers mentoring and teaching and sharing wisdom of their businesses and industry experts sharing that. So we're really looking at just continuing to evolve that for 2024, which I'm excited about, and all of you will be involved in, which is pretty cool. So more of that, and really just more around helping all of you listeners connect with each other in our community so that you can do the things that we've been talking about, whether it be in Pure Bookkeeping or the Successful Bookkeeper, being able to connect all of you globally so that you can share, contribute, support each other. And that's what 2024 is good. I almost said 2025. Leap year? No. 2024 is going to be all about. So I'm excited about it. And we're already kind of thinking about, as I said, I could use a bit more 2023, but let's get into 2024. There's some good things to work on in there.
Okay.
Well, on behalf of all of our listeners, I'd love to thank all of you for your generosity. Again, coming on the show during the year and now for our year-end review, for your generosity in sharing and spending your time with us today. It's been our pleasure.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you. And to you, listener, thank you for supporting us and being involved and coming each week and listening to these wonderful people. I wish you all the very best around the holidays and into the new year. And I hope you'll dream big, and I hope you'll take these lessons and chunks of wisdom from our guests and apply them into your businesses. Do it. Make it happen. Think big. Do big. You can too have the business that you love, and I know it can be there for you. So with that, we will wrap another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. If you'd like to learn more about today's wonderful guests and to get access to all sorts of valuable free business building resources, you know where to find it, thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Until next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with Michael Palmer. For more information and to download the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening.